Thank you for joining this lesson. We're going to discuss quadratic curves and cubic curves. Remember to subscribe and to share this link with your friends. The first question, which is on a cubic curve, the question says complete the table below for the function y equals to x squared minus 4x plus 2. I think that is the right curve that I'm reading. So the table is here whereby the values of x begin from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's look at how to proceed. I want to advise students, whenever they come across graphical questions, kindly make sure you maximize on these kind of questions. And we begin by looking at the first 2 marks, whereby we have to substitute in the equation the values of x so that we may get the corresponding values of y. So y is equivalent to 0 squared minus 4 into 0 plus 2. And this will automatically give us 2. Then the next one, y equals to, when x is 1, so 1 squared minus 4 into 1 plus 2. And this will automatically be -1. The third value, when the value of x is 2, then we will have 2 squared minus 4 into 2 plus 2. This is going to give us exactly -2. -2. Then when we have the value of x as 3, y will be given by 3 squared minus 4 into the value of x, which is 3, plus 2. This is going to be -1. -1. Then we have y equals to, when the value of x is 4, 4 squared minus 4 into 4 plus 2. This is going to give us the value of x as 2. And finally, when the value of x is 5, then y equals to 5 squared minus 4 into 5 plus 2. You know, this is 25 plus 2, 27, then minus 20. This will give us +7. So these are the values of y according to the range of values of x provided. Part B. On the grid provided, draw the graph of y equals to x squared minus 4x plus 2 for the values of x ranging from 0 all the way to 5. Use 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter to represent 1 unit on the y-axis. Therefore, the scale has been provided. For the y-axis, we will have a 1 unit represented by 1 centimeter, but on the x-axis, then we will have a 1 unit being represented by 2 centimeters. So let's get into that. I'm drawing the axis, whereby I'll draw the y-axis this way, or the vertical axis. Then I will also draw the x-axis at this point. Yeah, that way. So this is the x-axis. Then we are talking about the y-axis on this point. The y-axis. Now, according to the provided scales, we are supposed to have on the y-axis 1 unit for 1 centimeter. So 1, 2. Let's get back to the table. You see, for y-axis, we also need the negative values. Therefore, I should ensure that the x-axis is not as low as I have put it. So let me adjust it, because I will need definitely the values on the negative side. So I can put my y at my x at this point. Yeah, my x-axis now at this point. Start from 0, I can talk of -1, -2, -3, then the positive part now of y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, those are now, yeah, the two axes. Let's label the x-axis. So I should have 2 centimeters representing 1 unit. 2 centimeters for 1 unit. So that 2 is here, 3 is here. Sorry. Yeah, 3 is at a point here, 4 is here, and 5 is there. So that is how we are supposed to spread the values on the x-axis. The instructions have been provided. Some other times it will be upon you to choose a scale, but for this case, we can see it has been chosen for us. Let me plot using red. 0, 2. So 0, 2, this is the point. 0, 2. After 0, 2, we have a 1, -1. So 1 on the x and -1 on the y. This is where the coordinate shall be. Then we will have 2, -2. So 2, -2 at this point. 2, -2. 3, -1. 3, -1 at this point. See, my plotted coordinates are very clear. Let me talk of 4, 2. 4, +2, this point. Then finally, we have 5, 7. +5, +7 at this point. You can see now the plotted coordinates are already showing us, they are already predicting a curve, which is having one turning point, implying that the curve is quadratic. So now I can use green here to do the curve because I have already plotted the coordinates. Let me join them smoothly so that I may smoothly and continuously, so that I may get a clean curve, very smooth curve. So I have to join now. Remember, a curve is supposed to be smooth. So it's smooth. Okay. Trying to position my grid very well so that everything is perfect. Look at this. Now at the turning point, and I am supposed to be very careful, extra careful actually. Yeah, you can rate my curve. Yeah. We check somewhere here, the turning points. Somewhere here, it's supposed to be, coordinate was there, therefore. Now look at my curve now. Look at my curve. What you're supposed to know is that it's advisable for a student to use the cross when locating the coordinates, so that even after the curve has passed through, you can still identify the plotted coordinates, even after the curve has passed over them. When you use a dot, you are likely to block. And to remember, for the 3 marks, we will give scale a mark, plotting a mark, and the curve a mark, a total of 0, 3. Now, if you don't choose a good scale or you disobey the instructions about the scale, you get a 0 on the scale, and everything, because you can't plot on a wrong scale, then everything, once you get scale 0, then plotting automatically becomes 0, and the curve also a 0. Therefore, let's be very careful in obeying the instructions. Okay, there is the second part of this question, where we are taught to use the graph to solve the equation x squared minus 4x plus 2 equals to 0. What you should do for these questions, whenever you're solving equations using a graph, you start by writing the equation which has been, the function which has been plotted. Y equals to x squared minus 4x plus 2. Then now, you arrange the equation which you are supposed to solve now in such a way that terms are corresponding. So the function or the part with x squared is aligning with the other x squared, the term with x with the other x squared from the other equation, then plus 2. And now you're supposed to subtract downwards such that y minus 0 becomes y equals to x squared minus x squared 0, negative 4 minus negative 4 also becomes 0, 2 minus 2 also becomes 0. So everything has become 0. Now with this, remember our intention is to ensure that the quadratic equation is reduced to a linear equation. And for this particular case, the linear equation we are coming up with is y equals to 0, which is also the x-axis. Therefore, ours is to check where the line that we have obtained is intersecting with the curve. And those are the points here. Because the line is this one, the x-axis. So now we need to talk about 0.6 positive. And also, the value of x is equivalent to, on the other side, I'm seeing 3. But this is 3.123, 3.3. 3.3. Yeah, exactly, 3.3. So that is how you're supposed to come up with a solution. And now we do the same for the other equation here. By drawing a suitable line, use the graph in B to solve the equation. So we need to write y equals to x squared minus 4x plus 2. Then this other one, now we begin with 0 equivalent to x squared minus 5x plus 3. Then again, we just subtract. Yeah. So y minus 0 is just y. X squared minus x squared, that becomes 0. Negative 4x minus negative 5. That becomes negative 4 plus 5. And it will be x. Then we have 2 minus 3, giving us negative 1. So with this straight line identified, now we have to plot it. And remember, for us to plot it, we need to get values of x and values of y. A table of value, in other words. Can we begin with x equals to 3? Then the value of y shall be, when x we minus 1, we get 2. 4. 4 minus 1, we get 3. What about when x is 0? We substitute 0 where there is x and we get negative 1. So with these coordinates, we can plot our line 3, 2 on the same axis. 3, 2. So a coordinate like this one, 3, 2. Then we have a 4, 3. 4, 3 at this point. And we are also having a 0, negative 1, which is the y-intercept at that point. Now with this, we can do our straight line. So allow me to use the black for that particular straight line. We just do a straight line on the same Cartesian plane for the same scale Yeah. So that is now a straight line, which is y equals to x minus 1. That is the straight line that we wanted. Now we need to look again at the values of x, where this straight line is cutting the curve. And what are those points? So we have to read the value of x at this point of intersection. The value of x there shall be 0.7. So x equals to 0.7. And the value of x is also equivalent to, let's check the other point of intersection. At this point, we have to read the value there. Yeah, this is 4.3. 4.3. So those are the solutions. What if now the curve is cubic? Is there a big change? Let us look at it. Before then, remember our program here. Kindly purchase airtime from Shifting Grades. Just go to M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa. Then the pay bill number is posted on the wall, 737356. This is the number that you are going to share even with your friends. Make sure you master it, 737356. Then the account number is your phone number. Any line which is functioning in Kenya, Airtel, Telcom, Safaricom, that is the account number. Then you proceed to enter the amount, you complete the transaction, and you receive your airtime instantly. So that is what you are supposed to do. Otherwise, thank you so much. All right. Now, let us look at when the function now is a bit different. Complete the table below for the function y equals to x plus 3 into x plus 1 into x minus 2. So the first thing we're supposed to do for us to come up with the table of values, I would advise you to first of all expand what has been. Remember, these are factors. So we expand them first. Let's start by multiplying the last two. So that we start with x times everything in the second bracket. So x by x minus 2. Then the other one is 1 times also everything. So this is going to be x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2. After combining, I'll be getting x squared minus x minus 2. Then now we bring in the other factor here, which multiplies again what has already been expanded. So we begin with x here, which multiplies everything. Then plus 3, which also multiplies everything. So this is going to be x power 3 minus x squared minus 2x plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 6. Can we combine and group like terms? Yes, we can. So when I group like terms, I'm seeing, remember we are expanding the function of y. So y equals to, let me group the terms up there. I begin with the x power 3. Then we have minus x and plus 3x, both squared. So it will be positive 2x squared. Then minus 2x and minus 3x. That will be negative 5x. And finally, we have minus 6. So now we have expanded our function. After the expansion now, we can proceed with solution. We can proceed now with the question. The first thing is filling the table. So for us to fill the table, we have to begin with what the table has provided, negative 4. So what will be the value of y when x is negative 4? Negative 4 squared minus 2 into negative 4 squared. This one is power 3. Then minus 2 into negative 4 squared, minus 5 into negative 4, then minus 6. Here, you are advised to use your calculator very wisely. I begin with opening brackets, then I cube. Then minus 2, and I open brackets, negative 4, I square. Then minus 5 into negative 4, then minus 6. So this is going to give me minus 82, something that we can confirm. Negative 4 power 3 minus 2 into negative 4 squared minus 5 into negative 4, then minus 6. This is giving me negative 82. We use negative 3 now instead of negative 4. So negative 3 power 3 minus 2 into negative 3 power 2, then minus 5 into negative 3, then minus 6. This is giving me exactly negative 36. Yeah, negative 36. Then negative 2. We begin with negative 2 power 3 minus. Sorry. I think there is somewhere we are making a blunder. This is supposed to be a plus. This is supposed to be a plus at this point. So I made a mistake. At this point, it should be a plus. So allow me to redo just that part alone. Just that part. Just that part alone. This should be a plus. So I begin again, minus 4, I cube, then plus 2 into negative 4 squared, minus 5 into negative 4, minus 6. This is negative 18. Yeah, so negative 18. What about negative 3? I begin with negative 3 power 3, my positive 2 into negative 3 squared, minus 5 into negative 3, then minus 6. I'm getting exactly 0. At negative 2, I begin with negative 2 power 3 plus 2 into negative 2 squared, minus 5 into negative 2 minus 6. I'm getting positive 4. Let's continue. Negative 1, I cube it, plus 2 into negative 1 squared, minus 5 into negative 1 minus 6. I'm getting 0. What about at 0? At 0, they have already filled for us. It's a negative 6, and that's very true. What about at positive 1? 1 power 3 plus 2 into 1 squared minus 5 into 1 minus 6. I'm getting a negative 8 at that point. What about at 2? 2 power 3 plus 2 into 2 power 2 minus 5 into 2 minus 6. So I'm getting 0 at that particular point. And finally, at 3, I'll be talking about 3 power 3 plus 2 into 3 power 2 minus 5 into 3 minus 6. I'm getting positive 24. Positive 24. So for the values of y, now I have to choose a scale. So for the values of y, I'm moving all the way from 24 to 18. And this is giving me 42 units. 42 units. I want to represent on this graph. So I'm having 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, around 10. So I can use intervals of 5. Yeah, intervals of around 5 for the vertical axis. That will be very fair. Intervals of 5 on the vertical axis. Then on the x-axis, allow me to use intervals of 1. This is x axis. Now we can also talk of the y axis at this point. Y-axis. So from 0, can talk about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Then on the other side, I talk of 1, negative. So I'm using the negatives first. So I have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are enough. On the negatives for y, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Sorry, for the y, it's multiples of 5. Yeah, sorry for that. We are doing a few mistakes, but this is 5, negative, -10, -15, -20, -25. Yeah, these are enough. I can plot using let me use even black for the coordinates. The first coordinate is -4, -18. -4 is here, and -18 should be somewhere just before 20. That way. Yeah. Then we will talk about -3 and 0. So -3 and 0 is the point here, -3, 0. At -2, we're talking of +4. +4 is here. -1, we are back to 0. So -1, 0 at that point. Let's also talk about 0, -6. So 0, -6, -6 will be there. Yeah. We can also talk about 1, -8. 1, -8. Then with +2, we can talk about 0. Then with +3, we can talk about 24. +3, 24 at this point. So you can see again, this is okay, it was 3, sorry. 24 at that point. So you can see the curve is already displayed. Allow me use blue now to do the curve, which is cubic. It has 2 turning points. So I'm supposed to join my dots very carefully. Yeah. So you see, now I got my curve, very smooth. So that is how you're supposed to come up with what you call a cubic curve. We can even draw it. We can even label it x⁻³ plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6. That is the name of the curve. After this, ladies and gentlemen, we are supposed to answer a few questions. Use your graph in B above to solve the following equations. The first equation is here, and you can see it's related to what we have just plotted. So as I said, just write the plotted function. Then the equation we would like to solve now, it's ⁻³ sorry, x⁻³ is also ⁻³. So we can now subtract downwards. Y minus 0 is y. This is equal to x power 3 minus x power 3, 2x squared minus 2x squared, minus 5x minus 5x, the negative 6 minus negative 6. Everything becomes 0. What is this line that we are getting? Remember, our intention for subtracting is to reduce functions into straight lines. So I'm getting the x-axis. So where this curve cuts the x-axis now becomes our solution. And those are the points x equals to negative 3, negative 1, and 2. Look at the curve and where it is cutting the x-axis. These are the points that we are talking about. This point, and this point, where the line that we have gotten is cutting the curve. You just read the values of x at those particular points. We have another point here. We can first expand and have x power 3 plus 2x squared minus 4x equivalent to 8. So can we have a x squared x power 3 plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8 equals to 0. Then now we bring our function here, x power 3, the plotted function, plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 6. And now the one that we are supposed to solve after expanding it, remember it is now here, it has become cubic. So 0 equals to x power 3, x power 3 plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. And we subtract corresponding terms. Y minus 0 is y, equivalent to x cubed minus x cubed, 2x squared minus 2x squared. Then we talk about negative 5 minus negative 4x. So it will be negative 5 plus 4, giving us negative x. Then negative 6 minus negative 8. It will be negative 6 plus 8, which becomes positive 2. At this point now, because we have gotten the straight line, then we need to get a table of values now for x and y so that we may plot our straight line. So when x is 0, for example, the value of y will be 2 because we just need to substitute 0 at this point. When the value of x is 7, for example, when x is 7, what will be the value of y? We substitute 7 at this point to be negative 7 plus 2, negative 5. When the value of y is talk of a value like x being negative 3. X being negative 3. It should be negative 3 in the substitution now. Negative, the value of x, negative 3, then plus 2. So this will be 5. So 0, 2, 7, negative 5, and negative 3, 5. Okay, we can extend this one a little bit. So talk of 0, 2. 0, 2 to be a coordinate at this point. Let me reduce these ones. Okay. The other one is 7, negative 5. 7, negative 5. Plot it there. And finally, negative 3, 5. Negative 3, 5. Yeah, the curve will pass through those 3 points and more other points that we've not plotted. You can use a different color now for the curve. Let me get to this. Let me do my straight line now. For the straight line, yeah, this is now my straight line, Now, again, we need to look at the points where this particular curve, where this particular line is cutting the curve. The first point is -2, and the other one is +2. -2, this point, I'll show you using a different color. At this point, -2, and also at this point, +2. So x equals to 2, and x equals to -2. So that is how you solve functions using graphs. Thank you so much for following. Remember to subscribe, remember to share, remember also to get to our platform here and acquire airtime of any amount that you'd like to spend by just going to your M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa, the paybill number 737356, the account number being your own phone number that you'd like to purchase airtime for. Then you complete the transaction and the airtime shall reflect instantly. Thank you so much. Subscribe and share.